Hello everyone, Scott Weir here, founder, CEO of Pillow Partners. I am live here at the Serviced Accommodation Centre of Excellence, Pillow Partners HQ and the Safe Havens Charity Donation Centre. I'm live here today. We've got the full team outside. I'm always buzzing on a Friday. It's my favourite day to do these live Ask Me Anythings. Your chance to just ask any questions that you want. I am not alone here in the podcast recording studio. I have an amazing support by Holden in the background. Say hi. Hello. Holden is going to, he set all this up. Holden will be putting in all your questions, copying in anything anything that I reference as we go through. So guys, this is your chance to just ask anything. What would you like to know about serviced accommodation, property, business, building businesses, rent to rents, anything? You could be looking to get into serviced accommodation, Airbnb, holiday homes. You could already be in it. You could be looking to streamline your business, and you could be looking questions from potential hosts looking to use our services. Pretty much anything to do with serviced accommodation, holiday homes, serviced apartments, Airbnb, whatever you call it. This is the purpose of this Ask Me Anything. Hi, and we can open it up to a little bit of fun as well. Always happy to share some secrets about Pillow, behind the scenes stuff, anything you want to know about mindset, resilience, anything. So before I start, I'm here right on time, guys. Holden is going to feed the questions, and we are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. I never go live on Instagram because you have to click some buttons. Holden has set that up for us. So Holden has done the technical side. So if you're watching live, fire your questions in. I should be able to bring them on screen. If you're there, and please put some nice comments in as well. Much easier to do this when it's interactive. So if you're watching live, comment. You can have some fun as well. I'm open to that. But if you've got the replay, guys, and you didn't get your questions answered, just fire them over and we'll answer them on next week's. And next week's going to be a special one, guys. I am going to share the details of that at the end. And we always get a nice bit of interaction when we do these at lunchtime. So I'm going to bring you some special things, some nice offers at the end of this. There's no selling or anything. That's not the purpose of these. But for people watching to the end, there's some nice, cool freebies for you. So I'm going to crack on. Holden will bring them in. I will just click the ones that are relevant. I'll file them over onto the screen, guys, and I'll try and answer them as briefly as possible. So make sure the questions I can answer briefly. If we go into the technical side and it's one question answered per session, that isn't value for people. So let's look at nice, sharp questions. It's coming in from Facebook. And I saw this one earlier. I'm looking to do a rent-to-rent deal and the landlord doesn't have the right mortgage. Consent. That's consent. Is it worth the risk? I think I answered this on Facebook and made a little video, but I'm sharing it here. So if you're a person taking a rent-to-rent deal from a landlord, many of these deals have flown under the radar, guys. I've been involved in serviced accommodation for 2 decades. Probably dealt with more than 500 rent-to-rent deals, some of them personally, some of them Pillow, but predominantly as a managing agent. So we're the managing agent for lots of rent-to-rent deals. Guys, firstly, is it worth the risk? Definitely no. I'll give you a reason why. I'm not being negative there. And I'm saying this knowing that 95% of rent-to-rent deals on the market are, let's say, illegal for whatever terms. Mortgage lenders consent, something in the title deed, some form of something in the legislation and the compliance and the safety that hasn't been done right. People are just flying under the radar here. But is it worth signing up deals now? I'm going to tell you no. Why? There's a few reasons for that. Firstly, is it worth the risk to do shady rent-to-rent deals? Number one, no. We're going to have licensing coming in England, and they may ask for things like mortgage lenders' consent. There may be things here that you've signed up for a rent-to-rent deal, paid all this money, and it just falls apart after a year. So never, ever jump into deals where there's unknown legalities in the future. Many years ago, when you were flying under the radar, most people did this, guys. They didn't worry about mortgages. Number two here is mortgages. Mortgage companies are looking into this a lot more. Next thing here, if there's any reason for an insurance company not to pay out, then they will. So if you're doing shady rent-to-rent deals, guys, and there's a fire, your landlord probably isn't insured. The property owner won't be insured because they'll find a reason. You've sublet that under terms that breach the mortgage terms and conditions, and they're not going to pay out for that if the property goes on fire because a guest has left an iron on. So guys, you do not want to be in these positions. The next point here, guys, is you're going to be spending a lot of money to get your service accommodation unit up and running. So if you're spending £5,000 to £10,000 in furnishing and then this falls apart, then that is just an absolute waste of time and money. Your business plan is decimated, not because your relationship with the owner, not because anything you've done. You could be a great host, you could be a great service accommodation operator, but there's factors out with your control. A mortgage company spotting this. Penultimate reason is what happens when the mortgage company finds out and the landlord takes that property back. Well, the argument I've seen you guys have before is that, well, I've got a rent-to-rent agreement, so that's a breach of contract by the landlord, so I will sue him. Well, listen, good luck with that, because for him to continue that agreement, he would need to breach mortgage terms and conditions, and you've went into that knowing you're breaking mortgage terms and conditions. So good luck suing the landlord for breach of contract, because that's what it would be when you've broken the law to get such a contract. So that's just never going to happen. Secondly, even if there was breach of contract and there was no illegalities, you're going to spend a lot more time and effort suing that landlord than you'd ever get back. So you're going to move on. So if that happens, you're down a business. And the last reason, the final and most important one is, guys, who wants to be setting up businesses, breaking the law, looking over your shoulder, just waiting for somebody to come in and report you, or neighbours, or just the HMRC or mortgage companies or anybody? Don't do anything dodgy when setting up rent-to-rents. Yes, you may be smart, you may be a shrewd business person by circumventing the rules. Who wants to live a life where we're breaking the law and looking over our shoulder? What a big, long-term, sustainable, future-proof business. And doing shady rent-to-rent deals is not a sustainable business. So thank you very much for that question. This one, why aren't my bookings as strong in September, as strong in this September as last year? So I'm pulling these from this one, YouTube. Why aren't my bookings as strong this year as last year? Lots of factors, guys. Probably more properties in the market than there was last year. Changing demographics. Last year we were coming out of the staycation boom. Many people now going on to be mentors and experts and coaches, selling daft kids, mastermind groups, because they made money and they showed profit and they showed a few bank statements with some high yielding ones. Guys, it was nearly impossible not to make money coming out of the lockdown. All these factors, people had money saved up, they were scared to go abroad, they couldn't go abroad, they were desperate to have staycations and get out and about after lockdown. It was impossible. That's why these young kids are ripping you off for your money that don't know anything. So they're selling all these deals, selling mentorship and coaching, because anybody can make money coming out of lockdown when you're in a staycation boom. Now we're hitting reality. Many hosts that are in classic holiday homeowners areas that have used these companies like sites, cottages.com, have done very well for a decade. The market is shifting. So there's a little bit of oversupply in a lot of areas. Just so many people doing it, so many people dropping prices, and the demographics are different. We're well out of that lockdown. People are going abroad. Prices, some people are keeping the prices the same as last year, and in some areas that merits it, but in a lot of areas it doesn't. Just because you started service accommodation when prices were inflated by 50 to 70%, they can't stay there forever. Some areas are doing very well, guys. We've got lots of properties across the UK and they're making much more than they did last year. But if your area is becoming saturated with other people renting, then guys, it can be very problematic. So it doesn't surprise me that that is happening. A lot of amateur operators in the area, and they're just reducing prices. And people coming to the end of these rent-to-rent agreements as well, and just getting the costs covered. So good question, but yeah, do not worry. But listen, look at the forums. Everybody is facing the same challenges. A quick question regarding maintenance for rent-to-rent. If the boiler breaks down, who's responsible for the boiler? The landlord or the company let the tenant? So another rent-to-rent question here. Let me just make sure I'm reading it right. Who's responsible for maintenance for rent-to-rent properties? Guys, this should be in your contract. I saw this question coming up on Facebook earlier. This should be in your contract. You should have a watertight rent-to-rent agreement with the host, and it should be the landlord, and it should tell you who is responsible. Now, It depends on your standing and experience and reputation in the industry as how good you can strike these deals. If you're just nobody going into an estate agent, you're going to need to accept unfavorable terms. 1, above market rent. 2, things always been biased towards the landlord and negative to you. And thirdly, you're going to be signing up for loads of daft things that mean you're going to be heavily exposed here. So 1, you don't want to be paying above market rent if you don't need to, but you definitely don't want to be signing liability away for things like roofs and boilers. So in answer to this question, your rent to rent agreement should have that. But if someone's asking that question, it means there isn't that in the rent to rent agreement. You need to be super strict, guys, in what you're doing. Think of every eventuality. You can put a financial number on that. But essentially, if this was a landlord renting to you on a company let, they would have the responsibility for all repairs. Now, if we think of fully insuring repairing properties like this office, for example, commercial premises, it may be argued by landlords that it's fully insuring because it's a commercial lease. You're wanting a corporate let, and that's commercial. Guys, never sign the liability. You could be in for, I don't know, damp or a boiler or a heating system or a roof, and it just eradicates the whole 5 years of your profit. Never ever accept that liability. I say that knowing lots of people will, and lots of people have done that to get into rent-to-rent deals, to get the experience, and the landlord would not sign up for that unless you take an extra hit on the things that could go wrong. But guys, you could destroy your whole business model. You can't have, you've got the rent-to-rent liability for 3 to 5 years. That is a big chunk if you take the monthly income every single month that they're going to get. £500, £1,000. That could be 12 grand a year in rent times 5 years. What's that? 60 grand. That's your exposure. If you put an exposure of things that could go wrong, like a boiler, heating system, windows, you could be doubling that. So it just makes no sense as to why you would do that. Avoid those deals. And if you do need to put something in, set a very, very clear clause in that of how much you could be totally liable for. But that is a great question, and one that comes up a hell of a lot. I'll pick the next one. Next question. What can I do to get my low bookings off peak? So copy and pasting that again off the internet. What can I do to get more bookings for off peak or sort my low bookings off peak? We record this first week in September. August was an amazing month. We're hitting the dip in some of those areas that are subject to peak season, low season fluctuations. And that seasonality means, as a very broad term, bookings are going to start lowering now and come back up as a general rule next Easter. So what can we do to get bookings? Depends where you're advertising, guys. You need to adjust your prices. You can do special offers on all of the different OTAs and platforms. We had Airbnb up here a little while ago and told us all the secrets of how to master that. And it is going in and giving your guests a little bit more flexible cancellation policy. Yes, they can cancel and you're left without any bookings. That's the chance you take. You need to balance that out. But there's tweaks. There's very, very easy ones you can without going into it. And again, it's going to take days, if not a full 5-day training here at Pillow HQ to learn how to do this. We train our team and our franchisees on how to do this. But briefly, you can get a quick one tonight. If you're sitting tonight with a glass of wine or a cup of tea, you can tweak your settings that are going to be more favourable to getting bookings. You can use your existing guest list. You can do special offers on social media. What we train our team to do, we get out of the frame of being a property manager. We're property managers in the summer. A good 5 months of property managing where we don't have time to craft deals and pre-sell things as much because we're literally managing properties at 90 to 100% occupancy. When we don't have that, we want to try and pre-fill that calendar. We turn in from property managers to travel agents. We're trying to think of a cruise line. We're trying to sell those places on that cruise. We're trying to sell weeks in the future. So you're turning into a travel agent. That's a different mindset. Just put it in Airbnb and hope for the best. The strategy for 90% of people, or it's listed in Sykes or cottages.com. I'll just sit and check my emails and wait in those bookings coming in. Very, very reactive. We want to be proactive. We want to be crafting deals. We want to be making weeks or weekends or long weekends with a fixed price. And for us, If you're using us to manage your property, our team will be looking at the calendar from October through to probably the end of March and trying to pre-fill these weeks. We're crafting special offers. We turn into travel agents. We're getting deals, putting it onto all of our platforms. Guys, we have, if you list with us, nice and simple, you control the calendar. You do everything. You just list your property with us as another platform. We will be crafting these deals and try and sell time in your units. Our team will become travel agents, package them up and try and sell them to a list. So you will have a list of people that are on your social media, your network, your friends and family. Get people to share them. But sitting, being reactive, fine when you're busy in the summer. Guys, we need to be proactive. Turn into travel agents. Hopefully that makes sense. Next question here. Do you guys do any service accommodation training? We are here in the Centre of Excellence. We do training every single day. We tend to keep it to the team. So we're definitely not a training company. We're not here to necessarily sell things. We keep it for our franchisees and our employees and our hosts. So we're very, very protective of that training. We do a little day's training here at HQ. Let me see if I've got a link. It's for people coming into the service accommodation industry. Is this right for them? I'll put a little link. I wonder if that will go in. Hopefully that will be shared. That's there. I'll put that over. Just let the team know. Not here to sell training at all, guys. It's a tiny part of what we do, but people always ask us this. We focus on training our partners, our franchisees, and our employees. We don't open up. We're not a training company like the big ones you see online. But I do like to think we do the best UK service accommodation training because we're a massive management company. I've had 20 years, 2 decades in the industry, guys, and the team have a lot to give here. So when you come up in the service accommodation discovery day, it's just a day and it's cheap. I'll give you a half price code at the end. I'll dig a half price code to come up and spend a day with us. You get to speak to the marketing team, the accounts team, branding, everything about, do you want to be in the service accommodation industry? If you want more in-depth training, we have a 24-month program for our franchisees. You can set up a property management company with Pillow, all of our branding, all of our software, make £100,000 a year while having zero break-even costs every single month, a unique opportunity. But I'm here to answer your questions, guys. Hopefully that's answered that one. And there are ways to work with us, but I will stop talking about that and start giving a little bit of value and see what the next questions are. If you want to hear more about that, let me know at the end, but I will rattle through your questions very quickly. Let's see. What are the best areas to buy a holiday home? This one gets asked nearly every single week, and it's probably the most frequently asked question I ever get. When we go to networking, if we're speaking, if we're doing exhibitions, people come up and say, where should I buy? I've got money to invest, don't want to be a landlord. Where should I buy holiday let property? So this question is around a holiday home, guys. So I'm going to phrase it slightly differently. The question we normally get asked is service accommodation. Where's the best place in the UK to invest or set up service accommodation? This one is for holiday homes, so I will stick to holiday homes. Number one, there are some classic holiday home areas that do amazingly well. They're booked. They're not subject to that seasonality of being dead in the winter and the gloomy, horrible night. Some of the coastal areas on, let's say, the west coast, but on the east coast, you've got Filey, you've got Whitby. These are great areas. There are classic holiday home areas of which you'll know. I'm not going to list them all here. So number one is if you are buying a property in a classic holiday home area where there is lots of demand, if there's been historical demand, you'll be able to see that. There are plenty of platforms to speak to one of our team and we can pull reports and we can actually find out. The good thing about classic holiday home areas that have lots of properties, you can find out exactly what the nightly rates and the occupancy has been. And during lockdown, that got all twisted. Pre-lockdown doesn't matter because it's different days and different demographics, but certainly I'd say over the last year, we can pull all those statistics, guys. We can find them. So if you're looking for a solid investment, two things you need to balance up. If you're looking for classic areas like the Lake District and Peak District, Whitby and Filey, some good examples there, down Devon and Cornwall, they're going to be very expensive. You may be bidding against other people, they maybe get snapped up. So the better the area is, the more you're going to be paying for that property. So it all depends on budget. Next question to that is, if you have a holiday home, where do you want to go? If you're in London, you may not want to travel to the Highlands of Scotland. Likewise, if you're in Birmingham, you probably don't want a holiday home next to Birmingham. You want to go to the coast, as an example. So where do you want to be? Where would you like to use your property, or indeed give that to friends and family? And where's traveling distance for you? So for me personally, I would say Loch Lomond. I'm going to give my personal ones. We were at a spa day yesterday. Not yesterday, Wednesday. Loch Lomond's the place for me. I know if we get something near Loch Lomond, it would just never, ever go wrong. We're going to need to pay over the odds for that. In Scotland, it's offers over, and we will always be paying off well above market value, but you're never going to go wrong in Loch Lomond. Things about Loch Lomond, guys, not to harp on at my area, I don't want you competing against me for these amazing properties, but areas where there's going to be no further development. So if you're thinking coastal areas where the development plans show that there's no further plots along the coast. If you're going inland, there's unlimited green space where people can plant properties. But, and I'm going back 20 years here, guys, and my very first boss and mentor in service accommodation said, and we set a business up together called Coastal Investments, there's limited amount of coastline and there's limited amount of development that's ever going to happen in coastline. So you can check that. So that is an answer I learned 22 years ago when we set up Coastal Investments. Limited coastline properties where they're not going to be any more built. That gives exclusivity, a little bit of scarcity, and that's probably the best place ever. And around lochs, or lakes as they call them in England. But that is a great question. I could talk all day about that. Next question, should I charge my guests for charging their EVs? Oh, so EVs, electric vehicles. Always a little bit of debate in the classic holiday home area, local Facebook groups on this. So I'm going to cover this broad. I was at a networking event yesterday, and a lady up from London, we met in Glasgow, her business did this. She was a business development manager. I've got very, very good technology around allowing holiday homeowners to monetize this. So firstly, and I don't have an electric vehicle, so I'm not a loser, so that I don't have one. But if you are a loser with an electric vehicle, apparently you need to plug them in special plugs. I know I'm offending those of the audience here. I'm not joking. But holiday homeowners are always annoyed of guests plugging them in, charging money, ripping them off, and how do you charge them? So one thing here, firstly, we are in service accommodation, we're in hospitality, we want to give a good customer experience. So rather than going on and charging guests money after the fact, we want to make it very clear in our guest communications and our marketing. So my advice to this, should we charge? I know electricity can be very expensive these days. Make it part of your USP, make it part of your package, and work out what percentage of your guests use charging. And I'll make the numbers up. I've never charged one. What percentage of your guests are going to do this? How much does it cost over a year? And spread that over your nightly rate. So let's say it's going to cost you an extra £400 a year, and you've got, let's say, 200 nights let, and what's that? £2 a night. Just put £2 a night or £3 a night. Not going to make a difference, but you're going to cover all your costs. You could be the only one in your area that has this. Get one. You probably get funding for it as well. Get this into your business, and you will secure the guests above other hosts who are going to be charging them money. But second to that, there is lots of technology there, and as I record this, it's jumping on leaps and bounds every single week. You can get apps on your phone. They can chat. They can buy it, and it flags it off like electricity cards. You can get apps on your phone, so you can get really, really sophisticated. It doesn't cost you anything for the tech, really. You just get that in, and you can pretty much like Ringo buying parking space time. You can get EV charging time, so you can not necessarily making a little bit of money out of this, but if you are a very cost conscious holiday homeowner that's going to go on and moan in the forums that your guest left a light on, you can get these systems set up, guys, that you can charge them exactly what they're using, and they know exactly how much they're paying per kilowatt or whatever it is. But guys, my first thing is make it a USP, differentiate yourself. Rather than going on and moaning about guests doing this, set it up, go and get a charger and make it that you are the person in your area, and you'll get much, much more bookings, and just put it onto your nightly rate. Great question. Great questions today, guys. I'm loving these ones. If I buy a serviced accommodation unit as an investment, can I use it myself? Absolutely. Take this from a management point of view. We love hosts that use us at Pillow Partners as their managing agent. We really love them going and visiting the properties. And they're shocked at that because some of the bigger management companies don't let them use their own property, and they charge them to use their own property. And I understand why, because they're losing that money. But for us, I love hosts that use their own property. One, they take a much better care. They take a bit of pride in the property. They're going to go and say, right, I'm going to take new cushions. I'm going to make that look nice. I'm going to sort this. All the maintenance that we want done, and say, needs a little bit of a paint in the hallway. I think you should get a new sofa. Once the hosts go there and see it for themselves, they're much more likely to invest in the property and actually be amazing hosts and make that property top notch. If it's an investor that doesn't want to use it themselves, it's normally maximizing profit and saying, oh, maybe we'll get another season out of that skanky sofa, or I'll not change the carpets until next year. But if people are going and using it themselves, they have that mentality. So number one, yes. Number two, it's tax efficient to go and do it. You can get paid to go. You can't get paid to go on holiday to someone else. If you were renting one of my properties, you couldn't offset that against your business because it's a social thing. It's coming out of your after-taxed money. But if that is your investment and it's a property and it's set up correctly, you can get paid to go and visit it, and you can get paid to do it up and invest in it. So definitely I would. And just quickly as an addition to this, if you're looking to invest in property, we don't really use a buy-to-let, but you can invest in a serviced accommodation unit, a holiday home, and you can use it yourself. And again, if we're splitting it, investment, lifestyle. Well, what percentage is that? Sometimes people just say, I'm getting a serviced apartment, don't ever want to visit it, 100% investment, meaning there's no private use and you can just maximize the income. You're renting it when the kids are off school, Christmas, New Year, Easter, Valentine's Day, you're renting it out to maximize your profit. Many people want a little bit of lifestyle and investment. So let's say 75% investment and 25% lifestyle. You want to go and spend some time there. You want to go and spend some time with your parents, your kids, or relax. Escape London and go and visit your holiday home. Escape the city. And you may say, I'm going to maybe do 4 or 5 weeks. And you can pick the peak areas and lose that income. Or you can say, very good thing that we do, things that are good. If it hasn't booked by the Wednesday or the Thursday, probably the Thursday, we will contact the host and say, do you want to use it yourself? So definitely the Friday. And many of our hosts will say, phone up on a Friday afternoon, is my property booked? And if it isn't, they will go. But they're not going to sacrifice the bookings. So investment focus versus lifestyle. So can you use it yourself? Yes, but do you want an investment product that's going to cover the mortgage and make money and maximize the income? Or do you want something that you can use yourself? So what is that split? It'll be between 100% lifestyle, where you don't rent it out and you sit it empty and it doesn't make any money, and 100% investment, meaning that you don't ever use it and you just want to maximize your income. What's that split for you? And guys, I'd be interested to hear that. Please pop me an email at scott@pillowpartners.co.uk if you have any exciting plans around that. I love hearing people's stories, especially if you're going to be using it yourself, because if you're just looking at investment properties, that's nice and simple. That's all about numbers. But if you're using it yourself, and you can really craft an amazing product. And if someone is using it themselves versus just investment, tends to be that property gets looked after a lot better, gets a lot more investment because you're using it yourself and you have a little bit of pride in it rather than maximizing your income. So that is a great question. And please reach out if you're looking at anything. You're looking at a bit of lifestyle or a little bit of investment. And hopefully that makes sense with the split between the two. Happy to discuss that further because it's a super exciting topic. Next question. How can I get involved with your charity as a serviced accommodation owner? If I wasn't plugged in and had all the lights and all the technology and cameras and audio things, I'd take you through and show our charity, Safe Havens. Totally separate entity to Pillow, and Pillow Safe Havens provide funded stays for those that need it. So as a host, if you're a managing agent, if you're a management client of Pillow, or a list client with Pillow, you can simply do a Pillow pledge of pledging time in your property. It's a donation of nights in your property. And we'll cover the cleaning costs, etc., because we fund that from other things. But as a host, as a serviced accommodation owner, we would love your property, and we're going to give that to good causes. And there's two things we can do with that. If you say, Scott, and it's a pledge, so you don't need to, if you've got 100% occupancy, or we get your corporate let for 2 years, you don't need to kick people out. It is only if your property is empty. That's why it's called a pledge. And we pledge the things up, and we fit them with those that need it. Two ways this works. Let's say you're going to pledge between 3 and 7 days a year in your property. Then we can do two things with that. We can give that to the people that need it at the back end. Let's say a few examples I always give here. A young child diagnosed with cancer, a couple of months to live, and really sad situation. But we would give your unit to someone to create a nice memory for the family. Teenage suicide, if somebody's tried to commit suicide and they come out of the hospital, a teenager, let's say, or a young child, or middle-aged child, then we can give them a stay so they do not go back to that environment. Women escaping domestic violence, mental health things, people needing a break. Guys, even community heroes. It doesn't need to be these super, super sad stories, just people that have done amazing things but don't get paid for it, like volunteers. You can use your property for good. So you always get the end veto on this, whether you want those people to go in or not. But we're going to link that up with a database of users, with a database of nights pledged. And the second thing we can do, let's say we want to support homelessness. Well, we're not going to put homeless people in holiday homes. It's far too dangerous, and it doesn't solve anything. Giving a homeless person a nice holiday home for 2 days makes no difference. It makes our life worse, in fact. But what we can do is charities and raffle events, and as we do online things every month, we're just setting out, we're hoping to do online auctions and raffles. That property, maybe we raffle that off, it makes £1,000. Well, those nights go to the person that's bidded, so it's an individual, a business owner, but they've paid £1,000 for that package, and then we take that £1,000 and that goes to a homeless charity. That can get 50 sleeping bags, that could get hundreds of meals, and things like that make a massive difference. Sleeping bag campaigns, another one was under the foam mats. So everybody gives sleeping bags, but foam mats to take that brutal, cold, stone, icy feeling away from them, and a little bit of comfort. So lots of things we can do, guys, but we'd never put your property at risk. Anything happens, we would cover that. Holden, how many questions have we got left? 3. We've got 3. Cool. There's Mark saying some great information. Thank you, Mark. Guys, as we are going through, please put your questions in. I'll rattle through these. Too busy answering questions to look at the actual questions. So I put my email address up there, guys, for anybody that wants to follow up. If it's property management and stuff like that, we'll pass it to the right department. But if you've any cool stories or want to come on the podcast, want to get involved with the charity, guys, and want to donate your property, message me over. If you are a charity or know someone that wants to be part of the charity and use what we're talking about, then please contact me and let me know, and our team will do that. Team of volunteers and trustees for the charity. Next question. What notice period do Pillow Partners have if I give you my property to manage? This one's nice and simple. All things considered, we wouldn't have any notice period. If you are unhappy with us in any way, you can exit. So many years ago, we used to have 12 months and tie you in, and now I think it's 3 months. And the only reason we do that is to tie up the bookings. If you change your mind or decide to sell the property and give us like a day's notice or move into it yourself, we're going to have tried hard to get future bookings, and we need time to cancel them or reallocate them. So essentially in the contract, it's 3 months. However, if we didn't have any bookings in place, you could cancel straight away. We're not here to hold you to contract terms, guys. It's not who we are as a company. If something's happened and we've failed you moving forward, you can have your property back. What we do say is, if you're taking your property back out with that within that contract term, and just say, I've decided to move into it myself, or I've found my own guest, and I'm not going to be a lawyer, I'm going to stab you guys in the back and leave you with loads of cancellation fees. you will be liable for those cancellation fees. We are working hard behind the scenes, fulfilling our end of the contract to get you future bookings. So we just ask for time to relocate those bookings, cancel them, sort them out, so that it doesn't cost you lots of money. You can't expect a managing agent to go and try and fill your diary with as many bookings as possible, but have the luxury of just taking it back and not being liable for those bookings you've asked us to get. They're your bookings. We've got them on your behalf. We're your agents. And if you want to cancel them, then there'll be cancellation fees, and it would damage the online reputation of your property, and we want to protect you from that. So notice period, listen, if we've made mistakes and there's no bookings, we will let you out within days. We're not here to hold you to contract terms. But if there's future bookings and there's an ongoing relationship, it's going to take the team time, and the less time we have to sort things out and close your property off and hand it back in a professional way, the more damage that's going to do to you. So we ask for a reasonable amount of time. So hopefully that makes sense. Next question. How can I get involved with your charity as a business that doesn't have any property? So great question. We've covered how, if you're a landlord, you can give us a pillow pledge of between 3 and 7 nights a year in your property, even more in some cases with our generous hosts. But as a business that doesn't have a property, we always get asked from suppliers and from people that do work for us and people that we do work for, hey, we'd love to be involved in your charity. How can we help? Well, this is a great one, guys. We're here at Pillow Safe Havens. If you come and see us at the Glasgow HQ, then you'll see that there has a big, massive donation centre. So there's lots of things you can do as a business. If you're a business with a product, let's do, you say you've got little products that you sell. I don't know, bars of chocolate, ethical, fair trade, something or other, soap, cosmetics. Well, you can donate them. We will give them to charity and promote your property, promote your stuff in our properties to raise money for charity and sell them. We will put them into raffle bags here and all the different charity events we do. So we'll take your product and do something with it. And the great social media team here will make videos and will promote your product. So when we take something from a business, or sorry, we get something for a business, I want to give you 2 to 10 times something back. We're not asking you to donate something or sponsor a stay or sponsor one of our events or make a cash donation. If you're making a cash donation or buying raffle tickets for £10, we'll make sure as a business you get £100 worth of business back. So as a business, you can donate things, you can donate time, you can make cash donations, you can sponsor things, you can sponsor a stay. Let's say we wanted to sponsor a stay to give to a charity for a woman escaping domestic violence in an area where there's no accommodation and a woman needs to escape domestic violence rapidly. Well, you could, as a business, sponsor that stay, knowing that you've provided that escape and perhaps saved a life. You could sponsor a young child going on a trip, or a poverty family taking a trip of a lifetime to the coast. You can sponsor these. But again, nice, simple way for all businesses. We just want you to help share the word of what we do with Safe Havens. So the base level of things you can do, guys, is just share us, support us, be ambassadors, tell people about us, like or comment on our social media, helps the algorithms. But guys, you can do super high level things. You can sponsor things here at £99 a month on a subscription basis, and our team will promote that to make sure you get more than £1,000 a month back. Let's see. Coming up to the last few questions here, guys. I want to keep it within 45 minutes because you are on lunch. Do you sell rent-to-rent deals? No, we don't. We're a managing agent, so we don't want the conflict of interest of selling a deal, then managing it. Many people promoting this as a positive. Me, it's just a massive conflict of interest to be selling a rent-to-rent deal and then managing it. I don't see that as a positive. Lots of people see that as no red flag. It's a massive red flag. It's a conflict of interest. So we don't want to do that. No harm to anybody that does. But for us, we don't want to sell rent-to-rent deals. We get lots of deals across our desk. We do hook people up with deals, but I'm not here to, we're not a sourcing company. Many of the deals that we get, we just pass to people on our database and current hosts, but we're not selling them. We're just happy to get the managed property at the end. So we're here to connect you. If you do have rent-to-rent deals, our team can look at them and analyze them. Don't always just believe sourcers when they're telling you these deals. I'll give you an example. Maybe that would get that in that block of apartments in the city centre, but that sourcer's selling 40, 50, 60 of those deals. Are all going to be hitting the market at the same time. So there's other dynamics and some great sourcers out there, guys. And some great sourcers sources that pass us lots of property, and we know the deals are sweet. We know the person taking the deal is coming with full expectations, and they've been sold something that they're 100% aware of with the risks. They've got tight rent-to-rent terms with the owner at the end, and they're beautiful, beautiful deals. And 90% of the deals we see are absolutely golden. 5 just don't work, and we tell people that. Another 5 are from absolute rogues that they're never ever going to work and massively overpriced. So we don't tend to sell deals. But if you're on our newsletter, see if I can get a link to the newsletter page Holden to put up. Subscribe to our newsletter, and we share deals. Our friends in the industry there's a hotel in Castle Douglas. Someone's looking to either do rent to rent on or sell, so that is an opportunity to get a hotel, and that's just one that is in probably going out in our newsletter next week, and we're happy to help people in the industry. So if you've got deals to sell, we'll put them in the newsletter, but we're not selling deals and making money of that. Hopefully that makes sense. Last question. How do we apply for the fully funded charity stays with Pillow Safe Havens? And that's a great question to finish on, guys. So we've spoke about how you can help us as a business, help us as an owner. Guests can donate stuff as well. But what if you actually want it? Well, you can, nice and easy to apply. We've got a board of trustees. There's Pillow, the management company, and there's a separate entity which is a formal registered charity of safe havens, and we have teams that look at this. And in most cases, we can help the people asking. Not in all cases. Some people are, very selfish about this and say, "Oh, I fancy a wee break." You're taking that away from a young child with cancer. So we ask you to self-regulate this. But if you're asking as a person, just to get a break and get a free holiday, the team will spot that. And please don't embarrass yourself by doing that. You're stealing from somebody that needs it. But that rarely happens. So normally, if you're a charity, please get in touch with the team. Let us know here, guys. I'll put the newsletter thing up while I'm talking about that. Let us know, and we can match you. If you're just phoning up and you need something in a couple of days, the people that have pledged property, there's a big bank of these, we will match you up with the people that are there ready to go, and make sure the property that you get is suitable, whether that's for access, disabled, traveling. And guys, sometimes we can even put traveling costs into it, and we can get extra things. So we love making that a great experience by putting, I don't know, money behind the bar at a local chip shop or ice cream cone. So it depends who it is. So one, you just, if you are a charity and think we can work together on a regular basis, our job as a charity is to do this, to collect these nights and distribute them to society. We don't want to be reinventing the wheel. I'll give you an example of food banks. We collect all our food. We just give it to the food banks locally. We're not here to build additional food banks and replicate what you guys are doing as charity owners. I see charities run much better than businesses. Some of the charities we've been involved in run like military operations. A big shout out to Leslie at Loaves and Fishes, by the way. Never have I seen an organisation as well run as that. It's fantastic. Loaves and Fishes is more than a food bank. So if you're in the central belt of Scotland, please support Leslie Davidson at Loaves and Fishes. That's just an example of charities, and that's just providing stuff for the economy, for the local community. But guys, you can get in touch with us. We're happy to help. We want to not just give you things like funded stays and things that are in the donation centre. Our job is you utilise our social media team to raise awareness for your business. So if it's a charity that doesn't necessarily could use the funded stays for whatever reason, we want to get your awareness. Come on the podcast, come and see us. Jump onto the newsletter. Holden will just do an interview with you. The team will chop that up into social media bits. They'll share that. We'll raise awareness. If we're giving you a funded stay as a charity worth £1,000, well, that gets you £1,000. But if we can do that and get social media and do press releases and raise awareness for your charity, that might get you £1,000 a month in donations from new people that didn't know of you before. So I think that is a nice place to finish on, guys. I had said that I will share a little link. I don't know if this comes up, but if you want to come and join us, a few people messaging to say, tell me more about the service accommodation day. This day here, just a nice day. Spend a day with myself and the team. We bring in all the property managers that are local, so you get to evaluate whether service accommodation is for you. If you're already in, we'll look at your business plan, and that's normally 499. I'm going to put a little code in here. For MD watching to the end, said I'd give you a little thing. If you copy limited 50, if you're one of the first 4 people, I think, to put that code in, you'll get 50% off that. So you can come up to Glasgow, spend a day here at the Centre of Excellence, talk about the business, get to meet us. But again, you will leave with, if you're thinking about coming into service accommodation, this will tell you whether it's right or whether it's wrong. So around getting in depth in service accommodation, we will cover the 5 ways to make money. But my purpose of these days is that actually, can we eliminate this from your future strategy, or can we double down? Don't think the book Iggy guy is here. We focus on this. If service accommodation is going to be your purpose in life, your passion, the route you want to go down, this day is going to be fantastic. And you can get lots of other opportunities to join us. So there is the link. That should be up on Facebook, etc. as well. Copy and paste limited 50. I'll knock 50% off that. So that's 250 quid to come and join us for the absolutely excellent. So guys, thank you for watching. This week's live is here at the Centre of Excellence. I am going to be going over and, well, say a holiday, but I'm going to be doing some social impact stuff. Emma and I are going over to Cape Verde. Next week, we will be out and about. We'll be doing this live Q&A from Cape Verde. Cape Verde's Africa, islands off the west coast of Africa, and we're doing some charity stuff out there. So we're going to be touring about, and the internet connection may not be good, but we will be doing a live Q&A. Emma and I have got extra cases to take over. Guys, talking about charity, Emma was at the BNI on Wednesday, get £380 worth of donations, and we're taking for, because essentially it's Africa. It's off the west coast of Africa, Portuguese settlers, but there's 5-star resorts, and then there's just poverty and wasteland and undeveloped things and children in need. So we're taking suitcases over. TUI, big shout out to TUI, the airline, who always let us take extra suitcases. I think we've got 2 25-kilogram suitcases. So we've got a quarter of one for the dogs, and 1 quarter for the dogs and 3 quarters for children. So we are going next Friday. We will be doing the live Q&A the next week from there. Guys, we need sanitary products. We've got toothpaste, anything educational for the children. If you want to post it to the Centre of Excellence here, we will take that with us. So again, these kids have nothing. There's 5-star resorts and people from all over the world coming to these 5-star all-inclusive TUI resorts and best hotels in the world. And then there's massive poverty just a few hundred meters up the road. So we've asked the local people, what can we do to make a difference? So guys, anything you have, sanitary products, something you're just unaware of, and there's period poverty in this country, there definitely is in the Cape Verde Islands. So guys, anything you want to donate, getting just stuff that is meaningless to you. Toothpaste, not necessarily medicines, but things that we can take over for the African children. Educational stuff. We took football strips last year, and lots of sports things. So our local football team gave us their old strips. So anything that's just going to make lives better with an educational slant. Please, we don't want stuff just that's nonsense. Taking food over is nonsense. We want to do something that's going to help get these kids educated. Some of them go to work at the resorts, but there isn't enough jobs for everybody. So we want to inspire some young children and save lives. So guys, if you want to help us doing that, that would be massively appreciated. And you can get in touch, you can comment, as the social media team will pick these comments up. Thank you very much. If you're watching on replay and did not get your questions answered, then please just fire them through. Whenever you see this, we do them nearly every week, but next week I will be lovely and sunny over in Cape Verde, and hopefully we can share some good news about what we've been doing. Lots of questions this session asked about the charity, which is lovely, and we'll have even more cool things to cover next week. Thank you guys. Have a fantastic Friday.